This is a great day. It's an exciting day for us. Today, I am formally announcing that I am a candidate for the Nebraska Legislature from the 4th District. I am seeking this office because I believe I will be a voice for common sense conservatism and fiscal responsibility in our state capital. I am a native Nebraskan, grew up in Randolph. I have lived in Omaha for 37 years. I've been living in this district for 28 years. I have just retired as a podiatrist after 37 years of practice. But I started my career as a high school teacher and football coach in Table Rock. That's when I got to know the Katoshas, clear back in the early 70s. I have never lost that zeal for teaching. Throughout my entire career, I have always had medical residents and students from UNMC and from the University of Des Moines through my office, training and bettering our profession. I love the process of education. In 1977, I started a small neighborhood practice of podiatry at 75th and Maple. I grew it into the Foot and Ankle Center of Nebraska at 73rd and Dodge. I understand the opportunities and the challenges of running a business and of serving others. I now embark on a new chapter, my first endeavor for an elected office. Most Nebraskans feel our state is going in the right direction. I agree with them. We do live in a great state. But we have issues that we must address if we are going to keep Nebraska moving forward. We are ranked as the 36th highest tax state. We need to make every effort to find ways to lower our taxes and make sure that we are spending our tax dollars wisely. Many of you are concerned about the availability of health care and health insurance. We should be concerned. Obamacare is a national mandate. We may have to wait for several years to see how it finally unfolds. But for 37 years, I have been in the business of delivering health care. I will do everything I can on the state level to make sure that the citizens of Nebraska have quality health care available to them. In Nebraska, we want to and need to bring in new jobs. The best way to lower our taxes is to broaden our tax base. To bring in the higher paying jobs we want, we need a tax structure that encourages companies to locate in Nebraska and for existing companies to expand. Additionally, our schools at every level need to provide quality education for the 21st century, from technical education like welding and construction to the most sophisticated training of our cancer specialists. We need to be encouraging our educational institutions to advance to the highest levels. If we do education right, we can decrease our brain drain and make Nebraska the destination for jobs. As I considered this run for office, I met with a businessman who has known me well for a number of years. I asked him what advice he would give me. He told me, just be yourself. That's what I'm offering to the citizens of District 4. A man fortunate enough to be married 43 years to the love of his life, Julie. Would you stand, honey? I met with the chamber yesterday and they said, who is your campaign manager? And I said, Charlie Johnson. But I said, this is the gal that's really putting it all together for us. She's doing great. I'm the father of 3 wonderful children, all graduates of Millard North High School, and the grandfather of 8 terrific grandchildren. I am a part of this community, and I want to take my experience as a physician and teacher and small businessman and my farm background and serve the residents of District 4, my neighbors and my friends, as their state senator. I will listen to your concerns and be your voice in Lincoln. I have many people to thank for helping me reach the point we are today. But I am most grateful for my parents. From my humble beginnings on a farm in Wayne County, Nebraska, they stressed those basic common sense values of honesty, integrity, hard work, personal responsibility. I call them Nebraska values. I believe that's what you want in your next state senator. So please help me take those values to Lincoln so I can represent you at the state legislature. Thank you so much for being here today.
When Robert asked me to say a few words, I was thrilled. Robert is a person that I highly respect. I am a 3rd-generation banker. My father was a banker. My grandfather was a banker. But they also happened to be both state legislators. My father served in the unicameral, but my grandfather served both before him in the bicameral and then later several terms in the unicameral. And I remember as a child spending quite a bit of time with my grandfather on the legislative floor. In fact, I voted a number of bills for him. There was, at that time, little switches that you would throw to vote, and he had a good time with it and then would correct my votes before the final call. My father and grandfather served because they wanted to better the interests of the state of Nebraska. They really were into it because of wanting to do the right thing for not only their district, which was the first district down in Richardson County, but generally for the people of Nebraska. And that's one of the qualities that I see really in Robert Hilkemann. He's a person who's going to be there for others. Now, in banking, we have the C's of credit, you know, collateral and capacity and so forth. Robert has all those. That's not it. But in running for an office like this, I think there are some other C's that are really important. And these are the C's that get you A pluses in my book, and I think in our book. First would be conscience. He's a man of conscience. I think that for me, that means he has a moral compass. He has a wonderful family. Julie, you are truly in this together. And I've known his kids, and a wonderful family. In fact, if there were ever an issue upon which I would have a question of personal nature, he'd be a counselor to me too. He's that kind of an individual. The second C, I don't think this will shock anybody, conservatism. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not using this in any political sense of political party or ideology. In Nebraska, at least my understanding of conservatism means common sense. And Robert Hilkemann has a lot of common sense. He's a successful businessman, a very respected practitioner, and that's the kind of experience and background I think that would benefit a legislator. Third, compassion. I've known Robert as a person of great generosity, and those of you that know Robert know what I'm talking about. I believe that he would be an individual who would be interested in all of the people in the 4th District and the state of Nebraska, and not just those who have influence. He's a collaborator. You can't have a business for 37 years without having collaborated with employees. And frankly, all of us who happen to also be appreciative of the fact that he had a foot fetish and our patients of his appreciate that. But I believe he's a person who's already inquired and is curious and is inquiring about what makes for a prosperous and a just community, and has talked to a number of individuals. I think he stands for a real fundamental sense of fairness. And lastly, and this is perhaps as important as any, something that Jim really exhibits significantly, and I believe Robert does too, is character. He has the consistency and the balance and the trust, I think, of individuals with whom he's been in contact. So, Robert, I introduce you. I support you for the 4th District.
I think someone with Bob's background, his expertise, can make a difference. That's what we want in the legislature, people that can make a difference. Thank you.